The reason why diabetes is so prevalent now is because of the pancreas is what produces your insulin, and insulin is what controls the sugar in your body. So the cells in your pancreas, there's different types of cells in your pancreas, and some of those cells produce the insulin. Well, they have a finite amount of insulin that they can produce over your lifespan.
Yeah.
So if you are overeating, causing yourself to get obese, then what happens is your fat cells have insulin receptors on them. So they are going to be requiring more insulin to sustain them. So as your weight goes up, your insulin demands go up, your pancreas has to produce more insulin, and eventually it's just going to burn out.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to overcome the amount of sugar that you're taking in, which is what insulin then transfers into your cells. So that's kind of a very simplified version of what's going on with your diabetes. But it's definitely, that is something that needs to be controlled. And for hunting purposes, if you are a diabetic and you're going out hunting, I guess we could talk about, you need to make sure your diabetes is well controlled and that you've got enough supplies to take with you so that you can have an enjoyable hunt.
Right. So what are some things that that could happen to, let's say we have somebody who's watching this today that is diabetic, and they want to get out there and hunt themselves, and rightfully should. I mean, just because you have diabetes doesn't mean you shouldn't hunt. Obviously, you can still enjoy life, and you just have to, do a few extra things that people who don't have diabetes do. But why is it so important to keep your blood sugar under control as a diabetic?
Okay, so different things that can happen with your blood sugar being out of control, and the different types of I guess the severity of your diabetes also is going to play a factor, right? If you have diabetes where you require insulin to manage your sugars, then that's going to be probably a little bit more difficult to control out in the field than it is if you're just taking pills to control your sugar. Or the most mild form of diabetes where you're just using diet and exercise to control your sugar. So those are all different I would say, levels of the severity of your diabetes. Not controlling your diabetes, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is going to be death, in the long run. If you are insulin dependent, that can happen sooner rather than later if you're not controlling your sugars well. You can go into a diabetic ketoacidosis is what it's called, or diabetic coma. Those are things that can happen, and if they don't get it taken care of fast enough, then that is a life-threatening situation. However, most diabetics are aware of that, so they're going to be controlling it well. And if you're watching this, then obviously you're somebody that is engaged in your own life and engaged in staying healthy, so you're going to be controlling that well. What you need to remember and take into account is that if you are exercising, the more you exercise, the more sugar your body is going to be using. So the less insulin you're going to be needing, and you need to take that into account as well, because going too high on your sugar in your blood is dangerous, but going too low is equally dangerous. If you take too much insulin because you've been out hiking all day, going for a sheep or climbing mountains that you haven't been maybe practicing enough, haven't been training hard enough to do, so you overexert yourself, you're burning up all the calories in your body, and so now your sugars have dropped down too low. So you got to be careful about what you're doing, because that can put you into a coma as well. But the best thing you can do for your diabetes is, if you've got type 2 diabetes, is to get, or any type of diabetes really, is to get in good shape, control your sugars. Bad sugar control can cause damage to your eyes, can make you go blind, damage to your feet, you lose the sensation in your nerves, and then you oftentimes get ulcers, have to get your feet amputated, things like that. And it can also kill your kidneys. Those are where all the small vessels are, and that's where you see the small vessel damage from sugars that are too high in diabetes. Now, you're here at this website, so obviously you're engaged in training and getting in shape. That's the best thing you can do as a diabetic, is getting good physical condition. Your requirements for insulin will go down, your requirements for oral medications will go down. Decreasing the amount of fat in your body is going to decrease your need for any of those medications that are out there, you know. And so taking it to this level that you are right now and training for everything that you want to do is going to increase your lifespan. It's going to increase your functionality during that lifespan, and really it's the best thing you can do for your sugars is doing this training that Kenton and Dan are talking about.